Heads Up, Monday the 13th of February. As usual, myself and Sanjoy with you. And we'll kick off with what we've seen on recently in the currency movements.
Yeah, it was a reasonably quiet week, I think, really, last week. The euro ticked along between about 106.20 and 107.20. The pound kind of held up, I think, really, basically. This morning we're at 25.20, 125.20. Maybe premature to say, but it does look like the days of 120, etc. are gone. As bit by bit the information seeps in about what Brexit actually will start looking like. The week that we've got coming up, on the other hand, could be quite exciting. Tomorrow we've got the Euro GDP figures at 7, and then the UK ones at 9:30. Here again, people watching to see for Brexit effects in the case of the UK. Last week we did have the December growth figures, and it seems like the pound's doing all right. The trade deficit narrowed, which is good news, and that was presumably to do with UK exports.
Sure.
On Wednesday we've got the US consumer price index, and then at 3 o'clock Yellen speaks to the House over there. Here again the question is, how likely is a US interest rate hike in March? The bigger picture there, of course, is to do with the Trump inflationary policies regarding, well, effectively it could be like weak dollar, you could think of it as like that. That's been pushing up the US stock market, and now maybe he's in a bit of a cleft stick, because he's made some, the usual sort of quite brash suggestions that he's going to do this and this and this, and the economy will soar and wages will soar. And now he's in that stage where if he waters down these comments, it will be taken as quite negative. He doesn't look like he does a lot of watering down anyway.
No, it doesn't do half measures.
Yeah. So that's it, fairly steady, but I think the pound's looking kind of a little bit firmish, maybe euro a little bit weaker. In March we've got like the Dutch election that could set the stage for the French election. I'm talking here about the populist, rise of the populist parties. And apart from that, reasonably steady.
Right. So I mean, over the last couple of weeks we've talked about kind of how modern politics and current events are shaping prices and markets. Now it's back to that old foil of weather seems to be taking quite a big
the weather.
Change on things.
The weather is a big thing. I mean, we're now looking at the development of the new crop for Brazil nuts. This is a wild gathered crop, and is actually from the Amazon basin, which gradually fills up with water. Now there's only two weathers in the rainforest. That's the wet season and the dry season, and the wet season definitely seems to not be very wet at all this year. So it's that La Sequoia, I think it's how you pronounce it, is basically dry conditions. I mean, maybe it translates to drought, but it's by no means a drought. What the effect of this is really very, very hard to predict, because there are a lot of self-corrections here. When the price goes up, the adage is that people are more prepared to go further to make their collections, because obviously getting paid a lot more per basket load of stuff that you take out of the forest. But the effect of the rainfall is very multidimensional. One of the things is that you may not be able to get to the collection areas unless there's a certain amount of rain. To get there at this time of year, it's common for rivers to start flowing the other way as the Amazon basin fills up, either by rain from Peru or rain from La Paz. And that can change a journey from 14 days to 2 days, depending whether you're going with the current or not. And of course can be very expensive in terms of fuel. All the fuel that's used in the Amazon has to be taken down there by truck. So, very hard to say, but it does seem to be quite dry, and we do seem to get unanimous reports that the collection is a lot more difficult this year. So we'll have to watch and wait for that. A wild product, and the outcome is unknown. So there we are. The other side of the coin, of course, is California, where we're getting a lot of rain. There's a Lake Oroville, and in my newspaper this morning there was a picture of a freight train which had been which had fallen over because basically the train track went over a place where the banks are breaking of Lake Oroville. We're just starting on the almond bloom now. Direct effect of the rain would be reduced bee flights. Again, very hard to tell. What we do know is that the next crop estimate is certainly going to be large, because the number of bearing acres which are used in the calculation for the projected crop is up quite a lot. So a lot more land has been registered as now being producing almonds. We might be looking at anything between 2.2 and 2.5 billion, as opposed to 2.13 from last year. Also, the news we have is that the crop in Australia is very large and of good quality. The Americans need to ship 160 million pounds a month to come out with the same carryover in September. That's what they're achieving at the moment. And that's what they achieved last year. So we're probably okay till that point. Then we might start feeling the pressure of larger crops. So that's pretty much it. The weather working two completely different ways there, and one of the questions that occurs to me is that, when almonds get cheap, are there that many more packets of almonds in the shops? I think it takes a little bit more promotional activity to generate these kind of sales. It's not simply to do with price.
But it doesn't hurt.
But it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. Or at least people don't get so hurt when they're doing it.
Great. Well, I think that'll see us for today. So again, thank you for watching. And any questions, any inquiries, please do give us a call.
Thank you.
Thank you.